Dow's down 1,100 points at this moment in what is shaping up to be a pretty rocky day. Rates are up, the dollar's down. What some have called the Sell America trade is back in full effect. You have the president blasting the Fed chair yet again, referred to him as a loser. You mix it all up, it's just making the markets uneasy.
Markets continue to hemorrhage today as Trump's tariff uncertainty remains in full effect.
I think we're going to make a very good deal with China.
Why not pick up the phone and call him and make a deal?
Combined with the fact that Trump is now scaring the markets even more, continuing his aggressive pressure against the Fed to cut rates, still saying he'll fire Fed Jerome Powell.
He says he won't leave, even if you ask him to.
Oh, he'll leave. If I ask him to, he'll be out of there. If I want him out, he'll be out of there real fast, believe me.
The Fed's monetary policy has always remained independent from the executive branch, so this is truly shaking things up. So with all of this, some analysts are now saying the stock market is on the brink of another collapse. So the question is, why are both gold and Bitcoin decoupling and surging? Well, one reason is that Donald Trump, Wall Street, and the world at large is putting Bitcoin and gold into a separate bucket. Donald Trump today posting a cryptic tweet, "He who has the gold makes the rules." You know that Donald Trump understands that Bitcoin is digital gold.
This is the steel industry of 100 years ago. It really is. I think you're just in your infancy. I can see it happening. It's already bigger than ExxonMobil. Soon it will be surpassing the entire market cap of silver. It's not bad. How about gold? How about gold? Let's go gold. And one day it probably will overtake gold, but based on the way it's going now, it could very well be a possibility. There's never been anything like it.
And we know that Donald Trump has big plans for Bitcoin and crypto in this administration.
You're embracing crypto, very different from the previous administration. Strategic Petroleum Reserve like for crypto?
Yeah, I think so. We're going to do something great with crypto because we don't want China or anybody else, and not just China, but others are embracing it, and we want to be the head.
We know that he's already done a lot in his first 100 days, but there is so much more that can and will be done. Most people don't realize what's about to happen. Pay attention.
I do think there are still things that can be done. The single most important thing in my mind was the United States saying we're going to set up the strategic Bitcoin reserve. I think people are drastically underestimating how maniacal they are going to be about buying Bitcoin. Everyone thinks it's cute that they put 200,000 Bitcoin over here and now we have this reserve. They are going to continue to buy Bitcoin, and they are going to buy as much as they possibly can because there's a global race going on. Russia, Abu Dhabi, El Salvador, Bhutan, all these other countries are trying to buy Bitcoin. We are going to beat them there. And we now have a president and administration that is fully focused on that. And so the same way that there was a space race, there's now a Bitcoin race. And that Bitcoin race is how many coins can we go ahead and get?
Now, I'm seeing some of your comments. Yes, I read every comment. Gold has already rallied hard over the last couple months. It's true. Well, Fundstrat's Tom Lee says he thinks Bitcoin is about to catch up to gold in a big way. I tend to agree with this, but you tell me what you think. Should we be expecting a massive rally for Bitcoin like this?
Yeah, I think Bitcoin earlier this year may have been struggling with some of the deleveraging that was happening for institutional investors.
Just selling what they could.
Yeah, selling what they could, and I think that suppressed Bitcoin, especially over weekends. But now that that deleveraging is done, I think that Bitcoin is going to catch up to gold, and Bitcoin's old high was over 110,000. So I think there is a lot of room to catch up as a sort of non-dollar asset.
As for the equity markets, you think stocks are attractive, but uncertainty is still the name of the game, and it's going to persist. You think the high in the VIX, what did you say that was on April 7th, that holds?
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to match that level of fear again. So I think we're probably past peak uncertainty. I mean, even with this Fed controversy, but I don't know if we're past maximum pain. I think that there's still risk that the economic consequences are going to cause markets to be hesitant, but it's going to be hard to match that fear again. So I think a structural low did take place.
Remember, guys, and this is so important, write this down. Have a long-term outlook. It's so important. Have a long-term outlook because Bitcoin can do anything in the short term. It's true. But over time, this asset is heading in one direction. Think about it.
So the price right now, what is it? We got it on the screen, 84,000. Where conceivably could this thing go?
Well, it depends on the time frame, right? I think
based on all that demand.
Yeah, there's tons of people who have all these crazy predictions for what's going to happen in 2025 or 2026. I always say remove the time frame for a second. And if you look at something like gold used to be worth a couple dollars, tens of dollars, hundreds of dollars. Now it's worth thousands of dollars. Bitcoin, same thing. And I think that Bitcoin one day will be millions of dollars. The question is, what is that time frame? Is that a 5-year exercise or is that a 15-year exercise? And so, I'll leave the predictions to somebody else, but I do think that you have an asset that is finite. It is sound money principles in a digital form. I don't know any single asset in the world where the digital version is not more valuable than the analog version. And so if gold is 20 trillion, Bitcoin should be worth more than 20 trillion at some point. It's just how do we get there and what does that time frame look like?
So is the bottom in or is there more downside to go? That is the eternal question that we will only know the answer to after this tumultuous time is over. Fundstrat's Tom Lee says in his estimation, the bottom is in. Will stay low for a bit longer, last chance to accumulate at these levels maybe, but there very well could be a positive policy shock on the horizon, or multiple even. Here Tom Lee gives his updated current outlook on the stock market and why he believes the bottom is in and a positive policy shock is ahead of us. Listen.
You don't think this is going to be the absolute washout that some people are thinking, something similar to past breaks that were really significant. So let me ask you this then, just specifically, does the S&P have a closing bear market low from here? What are we down? 14% now, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, 4,800 was the low we made a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
and I think that there's a chance we could be drifting dangerously close to that again in the next couple of weeks, because there's still probably a lot of investors sitting on their hands and there's uncertainty. But on the flip side, I just think that we have to keep in mind that, one, companies are very resilient, and we'll learn about it during earnings season. But we could have a positive policy shock as well.
There is apparently...
What does that mean? Like a backing off of some of the tariffs?
Yes, we could have something that the market sees as a win. Whether it's going to be one of the 15 countries that we have a trade deal with, or a de-escalation with China, which, of course, overnight didn't seem like that was a possibility, but there is room for a positive policy shock.
Make sure you're taking stock about what's going on behind the scenes. Despite the volatility, what we're seeing is BlackRock is buying 84 million today via their ETF. Saylor is buying 555 million today via his company strategy. Wall Street and smart money are buying and setting up shop despite the volatility. Why? Because you're scared and they're not. Not you per se. Subscribers of Altcoin Daily are well above the average crypto investor, but retail is scared. Retail is selling or not buying. Wall Street is setting up shop. Let me prove this to you. ARK Invest adding staked Solana to 2 of their tech ETFs outside the US. We're about to see so many more ETFs be approved in the US with staking, I believe. Every Mag 7 company is about to have a crypto wallet. They will be using stablecoins. We're seeing the pieces get put in place. All we're waiting for is this stablecoin bill to get passed, then the market structure bill. Guys, I'm buying Bitcoin hardcore. I'm buying quality altcoins hardcore. Make sure you subscribe to Altcoin Daily for daily videos, keeping you informed on everything going on in the crypto space. Let me leave you with this clip because there's so much to be bullish on when it comes to Bitcoin and quality crypto. See you tomorrow.
So Bitcoin and Ether, anything beyond that?
Well, there are infrastructure players. Solana is doing a really good job. I mean, if you look at Ether was faster and cheaper than Bitcoin in the day. That's how we got Ether. Solana is even faster and cost-effective than Ether. So, there are infrastructure plays. We do believe Web3, digital assets. That's a big idea, actually. Digital assets with property rights. First time ever online that we're seeing property rights.
Do you think